Um, so thank you guys. What I want to do with those of you who are able to tune in, I'm just going to start with some questions that people have had in our Emerald group. And then if you've got any questions, I want to entertain those since you're on the call, and hopefully I won't keep you past 9 because, everybody's busy and um, it's late, at least in my world, but people may have questions and I want to be here to answer whatever's on your mind. So I will stay on as long as you need and address anything that comes up. So the first question I have from our Emerald group is there's been really good discussion of whether or not it's basically, should I be making my Facebook profile public when I'm posting pictures of my kids? And who should I be friending? If you have a like page, who should I be friending from my like page? Because we know that you can't initiate discussion or conversation with people from your like page, right? You have to be friends with them. So who should I be friending? And basically, like, is it safe, right? And I know, guys, when I first started this business like 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago, I had maybe 200 friends on Facebook. And when I say friends, they were actually people that like I knew. I didn't have any strangers or cold market on my Facebook. And I remember talking to Amanda about Amanda Dewey is my upline, about this very question. Like, I'm really nervous to friend people who I don't know, or even friend people who I only kind of know, and then to have this public profile because I've got small children, right? And it made me really feel uneasy. And so I guess I want to say, first of all, that I completely understand this concern, and I do think it's valid in today's day and age. I do think it's valid. I mean, it's creepy. Creepy things happen to people, and I think that we would be naive. It would be naive if this had never crossed your mind. So I just want to let you guys know I completely get it. And that being said, I really think it's a personal decision how much you want to make public with your profile. When you post posts, you can have a public profile, but you can change the settings of each post to make it viewed only by your friends, that kind of thing. So that I think helps a little bit as far as if there's certain posts that just you don't feel like are for everybody's eyes, then adjust the settings on them um, so that they don't reach everybody. So that's my number one piece of advice. My number two piece of advice with this is when it comes to friending people from my like page over to my personal page, first of all, I don't ever friend men, okay? And I'm not saying that women can't be pedophiles and can't be like creepy rapists, but the chance of it is not nearly as high as a man. And yes, a man could be posing as a woman. I get this, okay? But in general, I don't ever friend men who I don't know because there's absolutely no reason why I need to be friends with them in my life. All right? It creeps me out. So that's first of all. Second of all, I just really creep on their page and try to get a vibe. And if they seem sketchy to me, I don't friend them. Or if I friend them and then they seem sketchy to me, I unfriend them. So this is my business and I don't need to invite anybody into my life that I don't get a good vibe from. So I try to be selective with who I am friending. If I do a sponsored ad, I don't ever direct it towards men. And I try to pick women who are, educated. You can pick level of education and age range, and I try to kind of narrow down my demographic a little bit that way. So I hope that helps a little bit, that insight. I'm trying to think other things. I don't ever post pictures of my kids in the bathtub. For me, it's just, it creeps me out. And I know that a lot of them are really, really innocent and probably people don't think anything of it. But if it's a public post, no, I don't post public posts of my daughters without their shirts on, even though they're little. Like, there's just certain things that I have to think about because I have 1,000 Facebook friends, right? And so for me, I always have to be wary. Also, I am just really mindful of, like, if my husband's out of town for work, I might post it the day he's getting back, but I don't make it really obvious that he's gone, right? And that I'm alone. I also don't ever post anything with my address or post a picture like of my house with me in front of it with my address. I'm also careful about posting location, like when I'm in a specific place if it's a public post and I feel uneasy about it for some reason, right? But that being said, at the end of the day, my husband reminded me when I was feeling really uncomfortable about like, are people going to stalk me down and are my kids unsafe? He's like, if people want to stalk you down, they're going to stalk you down. They don't need Facebook to do it. Like nobody's kids and nobody's life is private anymore. If you're on social media, the stamp's already out there, right? Of your life and of your kids. So not to sound like creepy or like negative, but your kids are already out there. So you just have to be smart about what you put out there and realize that the chance of them being preyed upon is probably actually higher from a family member or a friend of a friend or somebody who you know. So I don't mean to sound like negative when I say that, but it's really true. So just be smart about what you're putting out there. If your kids aren't a big part of your brand, which they're not for everybody, then limit what you put that in a public post about them. If it really makes you feel uncomfortable, that's okay. I've gotten more comfortable with it with time because they are such a big part of my brand. And I guess I feel like if someone's really wanting to creep on me, they don't need Facebook to do it. Like this, this day and age there's a lots of creepers out there without Facebook. So I don't know if that helps at all or if I just sound crazy. Tammy, I know that you've been a coach for a while. What are your thoughts? Because you post pictures of your boys and stuff on social media. What are your thoughts about like safety of public posts with kids involved? Am I rambling or am I making any sense?
No, I think you're making any sense. And I guess I kind of feel the same way. Like even when I've looked myself up, I mean, like if I just like Google myself, you can find out so much about me without me even sharing on Facebook. So I feel like nothing's really private anyway. I mean, I don't post. I mean, sometimes I do some vacation things, when we're on vacation, but I don't post that my husband's gone overnight or that no naked pictures or anything like that. But I think if somebody wants to know something about me, they can find out way more and they can find out where I live, everything about me.
Yeah, if I Google myself, my address comes up.
Yeah. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think for me, it's if they want to see pictures of my kids, have it. There's not much. I don't know. If they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. And if it's with pictures of my kids or whoever, I guess I don't.
No, that makes sense.
I just trust people most of the time, I guess. And I just think most people are good people and I go with it.
That helps. Thank you. You're right on par with what I'm saying. I feel like I was kind of bouncing around, but part of me is like, be careful about what you put out there. And then part of me is like, it is what it is. There's going to be creepy people everywhere, no matter what. But the majority of the people on your page are probably just fine. Just be mindful and be aware. Trust your gut. So thank you, Tammy. That helps. That helps a lot. So I hope that helps. If you really feel uncomfortable making your personal page public, move more of your business over to your like page because you really can pick and choose more so what you put on there. If you don't want your family to be a big part of your brand, then don't put them much on there, and that's okay too. I don't know. So any other questions about that, guys, that you have? I don't know if we made any sense. Okay. Okay. That's always a tricky question to ask, but I also just want to clarify to you all that I had the same concern, and I still do to some extent, but I'd relax a little bit more about it just because I want to believe that majority of the people that I interact with are good people, and the creepers are going to be creepers no matter what. So that is my thought on that, but a really, really good question. And let us talk about legs, because that was the next question that came up. And that is a really challenging thing to understand. And I'm going to do my best to explain, because like I said, I could probably do a call just on legs and strong leg versus
my legs at first. Sorry.
Your legs. What's the best leg workout? Legs as in legs in your business. Oh my goodness, I know. I'm tired. We could be talking about legs for all I know. Body beast legs. Autumn's lower fix. So with legs, I'm going to pull up my screen here in a minute for you guys. But hold on. I think I lost you. You're still there. Okay. With legs, basically, you sign up, right, as a coach. And you automatically are going to have a right leg and a left leg that come underneath you, right? Like this. And your business is going to build down each leg. And when you sign a coach to be on your team, you get to have about 36 hours to move them from one leg to the other, right? And to be an emerald, you need a coach on each leg. And they need to be active. So the question comes up is like, how do I know which is my strong leg and which is my weak leg, and what does that even mean, and how do I earn cycle bonuses from that? So I'm going to quickly do my best to show you where to look and what this means, and then I can do a call just on this sometime for real, because it is really, really overwhelming. It has taken me, I'd say, like probably about 3 years to really get it. And it's not that hard. It's just I had like a mental block about it. Like it was just really confusing to me. So I'm going to just log in right now, and I will show you my screen, and maybe everybody in here feels good about legs, but I figure if I'm recording, there's going to be people who don't. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. So tell me if you can see it here in a second. Can you see it? Yep. Okay. So I have 3 business centers, guys, which is something we'll get into as well. So I'm going to try to, let's see, I'm going to take you into my smallest one, just because I think that it kind of will be more like what most newer coaches are going to be looking at when they log into their online office. Okay. So you log into your online office. And I'm always happy, guys, to answer private messages about legs, your legs. So don't feel shy if I talk about this and it still doesn't make sense. So where I go, guys, is I go to volume details. So when you log into your online office and you see this Success Club part, your coach, this all looks familiar to everybody, right? So I click on the orange volume details. And then what you're going to see, do you see right here where it says LV and RV? Are you seeing that, guys? Okay, so, and total PV and customer TV, and it's like all these V's, and it's really confusing. So what LV is your left leg volume. And what RV is your right leg volume. Okay? So in a perfect world, you want your left leg and your right leg to look really even in the numbers that you're seeing, because that means you're maximizing your cycle bonuses. But most people don't. So when you look back here, some people might just be seeing zeros everywhere. And that means that you don't have a distinctly strong or weak leg. And so what you want to do if you run into that is send me a private message and be like, I don't know what the hell to do. And I will then look in your business a little bit deeper with you, and we'll figure it out. But a lot of people are going to look and they're going to have a distinctly strong or weak leg. So for me, you can see in this business, it is my right leg looks to me, and my left leg looks to me like my right leg is perhaps a little bit stronger. Am I right when you compare those numbers, guys? Okay. So it's a little bit stronger than my left leg. So basically, strong versus weak leg basically just means one leg is bringing in more PV consistently than the other leg. Well, why? Why on earth would some of you guys probably are like, I don't understand. If you don't have any coaches on your team, how could you have one leg that's stronger, right? Well, the reason is because of where you're going to be placed in the downline. So if we can look really quickly here and see if this makes any sense. And I may have already lost some of you. Okay. So you can see here, guys, here I am at the top of my business, and here is my left leg, and here is my right leg, right? So everybody's got this, but as I scroll down, I'm seeing people on my right side that, like, I don't know who they are, okay? They're not my personally sponsored coaches. So, for example, I'm seeing Sherry's coaches because she's an Emerald in there, right? So basically what that means, and then anybody that they sign. So basically what that means is, oh, and here's April. April is not my personally sponsored coach, right? So this strong leg, guys, is sharing a big family tree leg with other people in our business. Are you not, if that's making sense? Okay, so basically, because the reason my right leg is stronger and is seeing more volume being gone through it is because my right leg, if we look up in the family tree, is connected to another person's right leg and another person's right leg. So anybody on that right side who's adding coaches are getting put on that right side of my business too. And so I'm seeing lots of volume. Now that left side is only what I make it. It's the inside leg of this business, and it's only what I make it. So most of you guys have a leg that you're sharing with your upline is basically the point of this story. And that's where, like, the pyramid structure comes in. You're sharing a leg with your upline somewhere in your business, most likely. And so therefore, when they add coaches and those coaches add coaches and those coaches add coaches, all that volume is going to be helping you. And that is how you identify that leg as a strong leg. Now, if you're seeing zeros all the way down on both sides, I'll dig in with you and we'll look at your placement in your business, because chances are there's one leg that will eventually be stronger. Maybe your coach just isn't building it yet. So that is a lot of rambling with legs, and maybe doesn't help. I'm hoping it helps a little bit. And so when you've got, let's see, when you've got your strong leg versus weak leg, you want to maximize the volume on both sides of those legs. When you get 200 and 100, you get a cycle bonus. When they even out to be 200 and 100, when they work together to make 300, you get a cycle bonus. And so as you have grown a bigger business, when you're an Emerald, you get that $12 cycle bonus, and then it's a $14 cycle bonus. Okay, so it goes up as you rank advance, and that can happen over and over and over again when you have a really big business. So I'm going to show you one more thing, and hopefully I'm not losing you guys on legs, because it makes sense to me, but it is a really tricky thing to try to explain. And so, and I also know it, let's be honest, it's just not all that interesting, but it is really, really important. So let me show you one more thing. I want to show you what it looks like in a really large business, because hopefully this helps you kind of get another sense, and then we'll move on to answering your questions really quickly. So I'm going to sign you guys into, I'm going to show you, come on thing. Yes, yes, I hear you. I want to sign in. I want to show you my bigger business here, just to show you what a really strong leg versus a weak leg looks like. And we'll chat about it really fast. The sooner you can learn to understand this, the better, I promise you. Okay, so this is my 2-star business. So this is the bigger business. This has been my oldest business that's around the longest. So let's look at my volume here really quickly. So this is like crazy volume, okay? So you can see my left leg is my strong leg. My right leg is my weak leg. So it really varies from business to business, which is going to be strong and which is going to be weak. So you've got to learn your legs, right? So my ultimate goal, guys, is to make these even. Why? Because every time I get 200 from this and it equals 100 to this, I get a cycle bonus. So that can add up a lot in one single week for me. But you can see this left leg is really strong. And the reason is because the person whose leg that is it's Melissa McAllister's leg. Okay. So sometimes she'll add coaches. So I'm seeing her coaches added underneath me and all their volumes trickling up. So this leg has been the strongest from the very beginning. And this leg has always been the weakest. And so I've always had to try to stack this weak leg to maximize cycle bonuses because I want to try to even get these legs even, and you can see that they are not. And if they were closer to even, I would be getting more cycle bonuses because I always have leftover volume. My husband, I placed him at the top of this strong leg, but as the first coach I signed. So he's seeing this volume then on his strong leg too. And that is why I did that, because I'm not the strongest retailer in the world. Like, I hit Success Club and I do fine. But for me, it made more sense financially to put him in this place than to put him here and force volume through his business by selling through his business. So I don't know if any of that makes sense to you guys, but start wrapping your mind around legs. Get in, click on your volume details and figure out which is your strong and which is your weak. And you might just be seeing 0, 0, 0, and that's okay. Eventually, you're going to be seeing numbers, and maybe your legs are going to be what you make them, because you don't have a distinctly strong or weak leg depending on what your upline coach is doing. But you want to be in the know, because I feel like I rambled along for a long time not really understanding this, and what happened is I put some of the coaches in places where I wouldn't have wanted them. Okay, so let's just play. I'm just going to ask you guys a really quick question and see if you're following. Where ideally, when you sign a coach and you have a strong and you have a weak leg, ideally, where do you want to place your coaches who you think are going to retail really high, who are going to sell a lot of stuff? Do you want to place them on your strong leg or your weak leg?
Your weak leg?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Ideally, where do you want to place the coach who you think is just going to get the discount and get 90 PV a month with their Shakeology? Do you want to place them on your strong leg or your weak leg?
Your strong leg?
Yes, ma'am. Good job. Now, people surprise you. I have amazing coaches who I thought were just going to get the discount, so I put them on my strong leg. And I've got coaches who I thought were going to work the business, and I put them on my weak leg, and they don't do anything. So it's really hard to know, but ideally you want to assign your discount coaches to your strong leg and your strong coaches to your weak leg, because your strong retailers are going to bring the most volume, which is going to help you. Now, here's my flip side of the question. If you've got somebody, like I signed my sister-in-law, Christy Kennedy, and I said, I really want you to be in a position to make the most money in your business that you possibly can. I didn't think twice about whether she was going to be a strong retailer or a weak retailer. I wanted her to be in the place to make the most money. Do I put her on my strong leg or my weak leg?
Strong leg.
Mm-hmm. So I placed her on my strong leg, and then I told her to sign her husband on her strong leg, right? It's because I want her to see this volume from Melissa's strong leg. Okay, so I hope that makes a little bit of sense, guys. Not if it makes kind of sense. We won't talk about it all night, I promise. Okay, so start learning your legs. Really, at the end of the day, I promise you it's not as hard as it sounds, and I was really resistant to learning about it for a long time because I was just overwhelmed by it. And so I want you guys to feel in control of the legs so that you feel good about knowing where to place coaches and how to really drive that volume through, because commission makes you income, but volume is going to make you stable income. That's not going to change from week to week as much, because you can see by some of these numbers in my business, I'm hitting almost the same volume on both legs each week consistently, which means my income has been very consistent as opposed to only relying on my commission, which is more inconsistent. I'll have really great weeks with commission and kind of crappy weeks with commission. But if you build a strong team, you can always count on a certain level of income even without your commission. So that's your ultimate goal. That's when you can quit your job, right? Quit your day job is when you have consistent volume because you've built that stability in your business. So I've really rambled about PV, but I know that people were asking questions, so I'll stop. But I can do a call or have a personal conversation with you guys anytime about PV and about legs and where to place people. And remember, once you sign a coach, you only have like 36 hours to move them around. And the stinky thing is sometimes you place a coach wrong and it doesn't work out the way you think it would, but there's nothing you can do. You just roll with it, you know? So, all right. Those were the two questions that people had. That and, oh, the next question people had, and we'll talk about that really quick, is recruiting. And is there a script that I use? You know, guys, there really isn't. Because I find when I'm more scripted, number one, it doesn't feel natural to me. And number two, I'm not listening. I'm talking. And when I talk at people, I turn people off, right? So I'd say that the closest thing to a script I use is when I think someone could really benefit from the coaching opportunity, whether for the discount or for the business or for the community or whatever the reason may be that they've stood out in my mind. I reach out to them and I just say, hey, you know, I really love the way that you have shared all these recipes and encouragement in our challenge group, for example, you know, and I know you're loving your Shakeology, and the line I use a lot is I say, I'd love to keep you as a customer, but I would love it even more if I could offer you a discount, right? Because there's nothing wrong with getting commission, guys. It's nice to get those Shakeology HD. So if someone really insists on staying my customer, that's fine. I'd love to support them, but I can still support them as a coach, and then they would benefit from the community and the discount. So a lot of times I offer it that way. And then I just end with the question, have you ever considered coaching? And I always end with a question. I keep it short. Why do I think this would be a good fit for them? Have you ever thought about doing it? And 9 times out of 10, even if someone's like, no, I don't want to do this, they're usually really flattered. Okay? If I go in with a script and a bunch of like information vomit on people, they shut down. They don't want to be part of my pyramid scheme because it feels like I'm recruiting them just to get numbers. And nobody wants to feel like a number. People want to feel like a person. So keep the script limited. Reach out genuinely. Why are you asking them to be on your team? How has it benefited your life? Keep it short. And then say, have you ever considered coaching? Or can I tell you more about being a coach on my team? And typically people will be like, no, I've never considered coaching. I'm not interested. Or they'll be like, oh, thanks for thinking of me. Tell me more. Or somewhere in there. But end with a question. Open it up for conversation. And my next bit of advice for recruiting, other than don't information vomit, keep it genuine, keep it short, end with a question, is remember that you're offering someone a gift. And Tammy has probably heard me say this like 100 times, but I was really scared in the beginning to offer people the coaching opportunity because I thought it felt pushy and it felt salesy to me and I didn't like it. And because, to be quite honest, I was making like maybe $100 a week coaching, and I was putting time into this business, and I wasn't necessarily knowing where it was going. I wasn't 100% sold that it was even for me when I first started. And so it was really hard for me to ask people to do something that I didn't even know what the hell I was doing, okay? So fast forward to now, this business has changed my life completely, and it's connected to me to all of you wonderful women. And I feel like if I had just gone in with that mindset from day one, this is a gift. And even if it hasn't, made you $1 million yet, it has done something to change your life, or you wouldn't be on this call with me right now. And even if it hasn't completely changed your life yet, it's changed mine. And I'm a real person. And so if you want this person to get on a call with me and you, that's cool too. But I feel like when my confidence changed and I realized I'm offering this gift to somebody and this is an amazing opportunity, and if they're not interested, that's fine. But I mean, I feel like it's my responsibility to ask people because it's an amazing opportunity. So remember that it's a gift you're offering someone, and it's their loss if they say no. Be confident. Act like you're the 15-star $1 million coach when you ask somebody, because if you believe in it that passionately, they're going to be interested in learning more. So I spent a lot of time being very, very nervous and not very confident in this business. And I wish I had owned it more in the beginning because it had changed my life in a lot of ways. They were just small and I couldn't think beyond that. Like it wasn't a big enough life changer, I guess I thought. And that was silly. So, okay. I feel like I've been talking a lot at you and I want to answer your questions. So those are the questions people had in our group. And so what do you have for me besides those? You can pick my brain. You can ask me anything. Cynthia.
Hi, Jessica. How are you?
Hi. I'm good. I'm so glad you're on this call.
Good. I have a quick question. I have been seeing a lot where like people sign their spouses or whatnot. I don't have a spouse. I'm divorced, but I was wondering like if I wanted to sign, for instance, say my son, he's 20 years old, as like another like, would I be able to do that?
Yeah.
But it would be under my credit card though, like I'm paying for it. You know what I mean? I don't know if that would affect it in any way.
No, I think you can have, it's up to 2, because it'd be the same as a spouse, right? It's up to 2 or 3. It might be 3, but I know for sure 2 people can be, I should look it up. I'll look it up for you, Cynthia, but 2 people can be under the same credit card with coaching business before they think that it's like a scam or that, because you can't just go around signing up all these people under your credit card, right?
Right.
But you can sign your son up.
Okay.
Totally 100% as long as he's 18, which he is. So Melissa McAllister, our upline, when I ran into her on the cruise, she brought her son and he's in college. And I was like, oh, I see your son's here. And she's like, yeah, I'm really trying to focus on building his business this year. So she's got both her kids signed up, and I'm sure that she pays for their accounts, and her husband. So being that right there, those are probably 3 of her diamonds, so yeah, I totally would, because that money eventually, you could get him an amazing position in your company and build a financial future for him too. So yes, it's totally fine.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I believe it's 3 people before they start asking questions. So, but I'll double check.
All right. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. Other questions? That was a really good question.
I have one.
Yes.
Okay, so is it best to, like, if I know I'm going to sign up my spouse, is it best to wait until I have another coach who I know is going to sign up under me, or should I go ahead and sign them up right away?
I would wait. The only reason is because, some people don't. Some people sign their spouse right away, but you're not going to start seeing that cycle bonus, right? The $12 cycle bonus. You're not going to start seeing that until you're Emerald. And so I always feel like that cycle bonus, like one of those basically makes up for his coach fee, of $16 or whatever. So I always kind of feel like it's nice to be seeing at least a little bit of money coming in extra to cover that coach fee. But that's just, I would wait. As soon as you get your first coach, sign them up on your weak leg and then sign your hubby like in that same breath on your strong leg, and you'll be Emerald. So I would wait, just because there's really no like big reason to make him a coach now, but keep that in your back pocket. Does that help? Just save the $16 for now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah. Other questions?
I have one more. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's why you're here. That's why I'm here. I love it.
I signed up my first coach. Yay.
Yes, congratulations. I saw that. Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't move her anywhere. I didn't do anything with her because I didn't know I was supposed to.
Sure.
So I guess I'm going in here right now to see.
Yeah.
What did you click on? Did you click on
volume details?
Volume details, my volume. Right. I must not have one of those little, oh, here it is.
Do you see the 2 blue number columns?
I do. So I have her, so I'm looking at my screen right now and she's on my right side. So she's on my right leg, right? She's on your right leg then, and I can look her up too, but which column of numbers is bigger? Let me go back.
Or is there one? There may not be one that's consistently bigger. So it's going to depend. You're Chong's coach, right?
Yeah.
So it'll depend a little bit like where you are in Chong's business and where Chong is in Megan's business. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
if you've
I
got,
mean, there's nothing in either one of them. Well, there's on the right leg, there's the one, there's her stuff,
okay,
but that's it. I mean, there's nothing else there.
let me look after this call really quick, Cynthia. I just am curious to know. I look at the genealogy, like when I clicked on that diagram that showed the people, the little family tree, I'm just curious to know like where you are. If you're, I don't know if Chong is on Megan's weak or strong leg. And therefore, I don't know where you are in Chong's world and if she's adding coaches. Have you ever seen coaches added that you don't know who they are to your business?
No.
No. Okay. So I'll dig a little bit and see which side, because you can't move this girl now, but that's okay. We'll see if because you probably want to put your son on your strong leg if there is a distinctly strong leg, and so we'll see where this girl is and if it would make sense to sign one more coach. Well, you could sign your son and just put him on your strong side, even if that girl's there. You just wouldn't be Emerald yet until you sign a coach on the other side. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yep.
But I'll double check after this call and kind of see where you are and see if I can give you any feedback.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, no problem. Because it's hard for me to envision. I have no idea really what Chong's business looks like and if she's got a strong or weak leg. But we'll find out.
How does that work then if like let's say the person who signed me, like if they're not active in the business, then who would I fall under? Would it just be the upline coach?
Yeah, good question. So I'll have to check again. I'll have to check where, I know you're under Gina, right? So I don't know if Gina's on my, I'll have to look and see if Gina's on my weak or strong leg. So kind of the same thing. Like if you're on Gina's weak leg, she's not adding any coaches right now. She's not doing much. So you're kind of out. I try to say this in a kind way that doesn't sound negative, but you're kind of out in no man's land. Like you're kind of, if you're not on a coach's team who's actively adding coaches, and you're not on their strong leg where their upline coach is adding coaches underneath you. Are you following me? If you're out in her middle leg all by yourself and she's not adding people, you're kind of sitting there by yourself. So you might not have a strong or weak leg, but at any point she could pick up and start adding coaches to that business. So the best spot to be is obviously on your upline coach's strong leg, because you're going to be seeing random people added from their upline and from their upline and from their upline. But if you're out in the middle of no man's land on their weak leg and they're not building their business, you may be hanging out there solo. So it is going to be what you make it. And so I always tell this to people to make them feel less stressed out about that. If I dig into Gina's business and see that you're like on her weak leg sitting there and she's not adding or building, I always tell people Melissa McAllister is under a coach who doesn't work her business. So she's not getting any help from her upline coach, and she's built a multi-million-dollar business, right? Lindsay Matway, I don't know if you guys follow her at all, but she is under a coach who doesn't work the business. So she's, again, getting no help from her upline. She built it all herself. So it's a little more work, yeah, but it's okay. So I guess that's how it works. It kind of depends if your coach isn't building. It depends if you're on a leg of their business where their upline's helping you, or if you're out by yourself. So I will look and see kind of where you're at, because I'm not really sure.
So if she decides to stop coaching altogether, what would happen?
You become mine.
Oh, okay.
I absorb you. So, but you become mine, but your position in the company doesn't change at all.
Okay.
But I could give you more help because I could add more people underneath you, I guess technically, but you wouldn't like move up or move around. Her spot would just become empty in the family tree. It's very strange. But you would technically be my personally sponsored coach. And then I would also get all her coaches and her customers too. So that's what happens when a coach leaves. The upline just absorbs them.
Okay.
Hopefully she doesn't leave. Hopefully she builds. But that's a really good question. So Other questions you guys have? Tracy, I know you're on there too. I'm not ignoring you.
No, I'm here. I'm actually using this so I can help my coaches and just refresh myself. So
Okay,
yeah,
good.
thank you. And everything's great. And it's always good to review those legs.
Oh man, the legs.
Always good to review this one. So no, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
You did an awesome job. Thanks.
Well, you're so cute. And guys, truly, like when you come into leg questions, don't ever be shy about sending me a personal message, because I'll show you what to take screenshots of and we'll talk about it. It's better to be in the know. Other questions, guys? I'll double check in our group really quick. I kept you past 9. I'm sorry. I am long-winded. Something I'm trying to work on, but I don't know. I was an English teacher, so I've always been long-winded. I'm just going to double check really quick in our group. I don't see any other big questions. Recruitment, safety, legs. Those are the big ones. Anything else that pops in your head? There's no silly question. Cynthia, yeah.
When we talk about like personal volume, and I know how like when we do like the recognition and everything on the personal and how when we hit 500 PV, is that, I guess is that the group total, or is that just your own personal?
Just you personal.
Your personal, okay.
So I just pick, there's nothing special about 500, you know, as it's kind of an arbitrary number. I mean, it's just a lot, basically. Does that make sense? Like if someone's pushing 500 PV through their business, I mean, that's just their personal sales and personal orders. I guess it could be too. So there's nothing like magical about 500 or 1,000. And there's no like, sorry, my voice. There's no like magical dollar amount, but it's basically just a lot, because I would say when I scroll through to do the weekly shout outs, anytime I see something like 300 or over, I stop and look, because most people are around, like you saw I don't know if you guys looked at my personal PV, but I said I'm not like an amazing retailer. I'm not one of those coaches who has like Success Club 26, right? Like Chong's an amazing retailer. So you always are seeing her like 500 PV, 1,000 PV, because she's hitting a ton of Success Club points. So where was I going with this? Like mine is more like 150, 180, 200, you know, like I sold like a challenge pack and a Shakeology that week, you know? So I just always try to recognize people who have like outrageous numbers, because PV, even if they're not necessarily hitting Success Club, it also means that they may likely have really great Shakeology retention too, because when you've got a lot of Shakeology orders that go through, that's like 5 Shakeology orders is almost 500 PV, right? So some people have really great Shakeology retention and have a lot of repeat customers, and PV is the way we get paid, you know, besides commission. And so I always think it's important to shout that out, because it really means that people are moving a lot of product, basically. Does that make sense? On their own, not just with their team. Because like if you move 1,000, like Nicole Baker is another one, Tammy's upline, who a lot of times has outrageous PV. I mean, she's moving a lot of product. She obviously has really great Shakeology retention, and she hits a lot of great Success Club numbers. So a lot of times she'll be like 1,000 PV, 750 PV in a week just by herself. So it's crazy. So I always want to try to shout that out, because I'm amazed, because I don't usually have PV that's that high, to be honest with you. Sometimes, but not often. My top producer for the month, top producer is just code for this person had the most PV by themselves in a month. And a lot of times that's like 3,000 and some. And I just literally go through and add people's up. So that takes kind of a while, but it's cool. It's cool to see what people can do.
Jess, just a quick question. When you do that, do you do that like for each week? So it's not like accumulative for the month. It's each week that you do that, right?
For the month,
Like when you do your shout outs.
when I do my shout outs, yes, that is
Like when
just-
you do the 500 PV, that's just for the week. Or if you
Just
do
for the
like the coach build or whatever, the team builder, it's just for the week, right? And then Success Club would be for the whole month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. I just one of those things figuring out.
That's a really good question because I have had this question come up before, so I'm glad you asked. But
Okay.
Success Club, I just look at the sponsorship drill down and look at everybody's points added up, there's no way to break down like how many they got that week. It just shows what they've got cumulative for the month. But Team Builder, you can click on number of coaches added to your organization this week. And then it will kick out the names. And same thing with volume. I just look for the week. And then at the end of the month, look for the whole month, which means adding up the 4 columns, like previous week, this week, second week. Do you know what I'm talking about, Tracy? It shows you like the different.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of, now that I'm actually seeing some volume in coaches, I was just kind of like, I should pay attention to this.
That's
So,
how I figure out for the month is I add up 4 weeks worth basically. And it's not perfect because sometimes the week will overlap into the next month or the previous month, but it's close. And so I add those up, and that one can be a little bit time consuming because you're adding up a lot of numbers. But I think it's really important because sometimes the people who are top producers are not necessarily the people who are hitting the highest Success Club points. A lot of times it is, but not always. So it's kind of neat. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I won't keep you because I know it's late and I almost kept you for an hour, but I hope this was helpful. And if you have follow-up questions, let me know. And ladies, volume, I won't forget to get back to the 2 of you on just not volume, placement, where you are, and legs in the company. And don't ever be shy about asking questions. I'm always here to help anything that comes up, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks.